Since the 1970s, the participation of women in sports has steadily been increasing. In 1971, 294,000 high school girls played interscholastic sports. Today, nearly 3.1 million play, much closer to the 4.4 million boys who play high school sports. There have, however, been small victories. Title IX was a legislation that banned sex discrimination in educational programs receiving federal funding. It was passed in 1972, and after it was passed, these numbers changed. The number of female high school athletes increased by 9.2%, and the number of college athletes skyrocketed by more than 600%. Even with these victories, though, female athletes continue to face gender discrimination today.
The ratio between male and female athletes is still quite unbalanced in many places. One survey of 112,000 adults revealed that only 24% of women participated in sports. Another study found that out of 200,000 athletes in 37 different colleges, only 26% of them were women. There are also discrepancies between the representation of women's sports. Even with the increase of participation, research has shown that there has been no improvement in the amount of coverage of female athletes. Over a 6-week period in 2014, SportsCenter dedicated just 2% of its highlight program to women's sports. During that same period, KCB only featured female athletes for 0.2% of the network's total sports coverage. There are even salary differences. Bonnie Hendrickson, who coached the University of Kansas women's basketball team, earned $500,000, while her men's team counterpart, Bill Self, made close to $5 million pre-bonus. For athletes, female basketball players earn $4.5 million less, only 1.6% of the male salary, and soccer players earn 14.4% of what the men earn.
Even when the media does cover female athletes, it is often sexualized, focusing more on her looks rather than her skills as a player. While male athletes, however, are praised for their skills, pictured in strong positions. For instance, both Anna Kournikova and Roger Federer are accomplished tennis players. However, when Kournikova is featured, she is photographed at a down angle in casual clothes, looking into the camera with a seductive glare, while Federer is shown in a powerful action in athletic clothing. Another example of this is Lindsey Vonn. She is a champion alpine skier, having won the downhill gold medal at the Vancouver Winter Olympics and multiple World Cup championships. She is equally famous, though, perhaps even more so, for her bikini shots.
Female athletes in sports are so ignored that people don't even notice the amazing achievements that female athletes make. In an interview of Andy Murray, a tennis player who won 2 Olympic gold medals, BBC presenter John Inverdale said, "You're the first person to ever win the Olympics tennis gold medals. That's an extraordinary feat, isn't it?" Andy Murray, aka the Olympics woke bae, replied saying, "Well, to defend the single title, I think Serena may have won about 4 of each. It's obviously not an easy thing to do, and I had to fight unbelievably hard to get it tonight as well."
There's also the problem of not being taken seriously as an athlete. Many women face this problem when playing at competitive levels. They must fit a certain image in order to be respected.
Because I had blonde hair or have blonde hair, I often had other people in the stands while I was on the court playing basketball rip apart Barbie dolls and throw them at me and call out that I was a Barbie doll and I had no place on the basketball court. And another situation was when I was in college for a psychology test that I missed, or a final examination, because of basketball. I went and did a retake. I went to talk to the professor afterwards because the people who took the test during the actual testing time had a significantly higher average than the students who missed it. And when I challenged that I shouldn't be penalized for playing a sport and representing the school that he is teaching at, his response to me was, our school has a women's basketball team.
There are also many popular female sports that are not taken seriously, such as horseback riding.
I am currently qualified for nationals this year, which will take me to Maryland and Washington, D.C. and Kentucky. Been nationally recognized for the past 4 years for riding, in the top 100 riders for like what I did, my individual sport. I have really bad scoliosis. I've just always had it my whole life. So I go to physical therapy at least once a week. And my physical therapist, his name is Tim, but Tim was out sick about 2 weeks ago, and this guy named Everett filled in for him. And Everett didn't really know who I was or what my sport was or why I was going to physical therapy. And once we started doing the stretching, he had asked me more about riding, specifically if women and men compete against each other. And I told him yes, and his exact response was, wow, that must be such an advantage for the men. It must be really hard for you to win. As like it continued, he just continued to make really rude comments towards me, and that I didn't need to have any muscle. Like I was doing some sit-ups and like for core strength, and he was teaching me like how to do breathing along with it. Then he said, no, never mind, we don't have to do sit-ups. You're a girl and you don't need any core strength. So I said, no, please, can we please do the sit-ups? I think that it's important for me in my sport to just have this practice, and the breathing exercises are good for me. And he responded, but okay, but girls can't do sit-ups correctly, so I'll have to step by step teach you how to do it.
There's also this issue in sports like volleyball.
8 years of club volleyball. I played in middle school, and then 4 years on like high school varsity. I mean, yeah, especially if you ever want to play like professional or anything. Like there's been tons of girls who have gone to play professional, and kind of in other countries you get paid to like go out there and look attractive. Kaylee Nelson, she went, and basically it was all about if you were pretty or not. And then they would pay you they would give you playing time if you were pretty, and then you get paid based on your playing time. So she like quit right away. Being it as like people go to watch volleyball to stare at your butt. You're in spandex, that's kind of how it is. It's like a pretty sexualized sport.
I started playing basketball in elementary school. I continued all through high school into college, and I still play recreationally twice a week when I'm not injured. I actually did not make a team because of the way I looked. So I went and tried out with all of my friends, and basically the way the tryout went was you tried out for 2 hours, they did a cut, they did further tryouts, and then they did another cut. And I was the only one on that team cut, and it was devastating for me. And later when I played against that coach, for when I was playing just for my high school, he came up to my coach and said that he cut me because he had to make a decision, and he assumed because I was pretty that I wouldn't know how to play basketball. Yeah, absolutely. When I was in college, we would travel with our men's team. We would get on a bus. We would go and play another university where the women would play first and the men would play afterwards. The women typically didn't have many fans, and most of the fans would come in for the men's game.